Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're making 3 farmhouse-inspired Easter decor signs. Let's get started. For the first project, you'll need 2 of these canvases from Dollar Tree. These are 8x10s. I'm just removing the staples and removing the canvas that way, but you could definitely just take a razor blade and cut off and not worry about removing the staples. You're not going to see the back, so you don't have to. It's just personal preference. Once the canvases were removed, I was left with the wooden frame that was inside of it, and I'm just staining them with a Minwax ebony stain that I had on hand. After a few hours, and I was sure the stain was completely dry, I printed out a couple of free Farmhouse Easter printables. If you want to use these exact printables, the link is going to be in the description box below. I printed these out on cardstock, and I just centered them on the frame, used the frame as a guideline to trace outside the box, and I just simply cut them. Once I had the cardstock all cut out, I just hot glued them in place right on the frame. I wanted my frame to be able to stand up by itself, so here I'm adding a little block from the wooden jumbling tower set that you can find at Dollar Tree. The way that I attached them to the frame here didn't actually provide enough length in the back to support the frame. They just kind of tipped over. So I decided to add 2 more tumbling blocks going in the opposite direction on each side of the original block, and that really seemed to help it stand up in place. And here's a look at the finished project. I think this came out really cute. I think this is very modern farmhouse, very neutral, can really fit into any decor, and it was just so easy to do. The next project will be using these 2 Dollar Tree signs, the bunny sign and this bless our nest sign. First, I'm just removing the stickers on the back of the circular sign and the twine. I am going to be working on the back side of this sign, just so I don't have to worry about removing the bless our nest on the front of the sign. So the first step is to adhere Mod Podge to the entirety of this circle. I definitely use way too much because once I apply my scrapbook paper, it does bubble up. So if I were to do this project again, I would definitely use less Mod Podge. Once the entire circle was covered, I just placed the scrapbook paper right on top and set it aside to dry. While the scrapbook paper was drying onto the circle, it was time to work on the bunny. I started by removing the bottom half of the sign. I'm saving these carrots for another project later. Once I had removed the staples, I flipped over the bunny and removed his bow. I'll be using that later. And I removed the jute cord because I won't be using that either. Next, I just quickly sanded where the holes were left from the staples and around the edges where it appeared rough. Using the spackling that I picked up at the Dollar Tree, I filled the holes on the top of the bunny. This spackle is actually really great for filling tiny holes like this. It says to wait 30 minutes before painting, but here I waited, I don't know, a good minute, and it was fine. I'm just using Waverly Chalk Paint in the color white here on the bunny. This bunny took 2 coats of white paint. Once I was sure the Mod Podge was dried, I went and cut out the circle. Here I'm taking a sanding block and just hitting any rough edges. Because the edges of this were going to be exposed, I'm just taking a thin black ribbon and hot gluing it around the edge. Now that the paint on the bunny had dried, I adhered him to the sign using hot glue. I centered him on the sign so that he would mostly cover the extra wrinkles that appeared when I applied too much Mod Podge. In the same burlap bow that came with the bunny sign, I fluffed up the bow a little bit and I dovetailed the ends with some scissors and hot glued it in place. I wanted to add a little color to the sign, so I decided to add some lavender. This lavender came from Walmart. It was 97 cents, but you can also pick up lavender at the Dollar Tree. Next, I added some lamb's ear. I picked this up at Walmart, but you could use whatever greenery you have on hand. I wanted to add a little more color to my sign, so I grabbed this peony pick that I got at Dollar Tree, and I thought 1 flower just was a little bit too small. So I took 2 flowers, I took them apart, and I combined them together using hot glue to kind of adhere the pieces how I liked. I liked how this came out because it just was 1 nice, large, really full flower instead of 2 a little bit sparse flowers. To hang up the sign, I decided I would use a burlap ribbon from Dollar Tree. This is the wired ribbon. It's cut in half, and I just hot glue it into a loop on the back and wait for it to dry. And here is the finished sign. I think this came out really cute, just a really sweet piece of decor for Easter. For the last project, I'll be using this photo frame and galvanized words that I picked up at Dollar Tree. The first step is to remove this jute twine. To do this, I just had to remove the back and then cut off the twine and kind of just pick it out of the little staples holding it in place. I decided that I wanted my sign to say Happy Easter, but I wanted it to stand out a little bit more than the galvanized and the black, so I decided I would paint them with some white chalk paint. To paint the sign, I'm using these cosmetic sponges that I picked up at the Dollar Tree. There's a huge pack of them for $1, which is really nice because you can just use them, throw them away, and not worry about washing them out. After I'd done about 3 coats on these words, they were perfectly opaque and ready to be put on the sign. To adhere the words to the sign, I'm using this pop top tape that I got from Dollar Tree. The tape is really easy to use. Both sides have a sticky surface, and you just cut to the size you want, adhere to the back, and place them right on the sign. And this does give a little bit of a 3D effect because it causes it not to sit completely flush. Once I had put on both of the words, I decided that it looked a little bit plain, so I'm using this Boxwood pick that I got from Walmart for 97 cents, and I'm just going to hot glue it into place on both sides to add a little bit of color. And here's the finished sign. I love how this came out. It's very neutral farmhouse with just a pop of color. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed watching this Easter farmhouse DIYs, please give the video a thumbs up. If you'd like to see more content like this, go ahead and hit that subscribe button because I'm going to put out more DIYs next week. I'll see you next time.